The US stock market had been way down, over 8%, and then the Fed announced something or other that they were going to do some kind of thing. I haven't even read it or fully understood it, but the Fed said it was going to help in some kind of way, and then stocks went back up some. So let me show you the market. Oh, it went back down. Oh, no, that's right. That's futures. Oh, actually, it did go back down. So this is interesting. Look what happened. So the Dow was down. The Dow was down about 8 or 9%, and then the Fed made some announcement, and it went up. It paired gain. It was only down about 3.5%, and now it's down 7.7% again. Let's see if I can make this bigger. One day. Yeah. So what happened is it was been down today, and then the Fed made an announcement. And then it went back up here. I mean, it didn't get all its gains back, but now it's back down again. And the S&P 500, there was a circuit breaker today when the S&P went down 7%, which stopped trading, I believe, for 15 minutes. S&P is now down 7.5%. And European stocks, I think the markets in Europe would be closed by now, but they had a really bad day. Let's look at that. Check out European stocks. This is France. France down 12.28%. UK main index down 11%. Germany over 12%. Italy stocks ended up down over 16%. That's just today. Italy stocks ended up down 16.62%. That's in one day. I'm guessing this is Spain. That must be Spain. 14.61%. Hey, just an update. There's a big power outage in Venezuela. It's not the whole country, but it's some states. How many states in Venezuela? Like 30? "23 states in Venezuela." Well, a bunch of them are having a power outage. NetBlocks, a power outage has disrupted internet connectivity in multiple states of Venezuela beginning 12:30 local time. Real-time network data shows significant impact with little sign of recovery. Gavin Newsom is some viewers said Gavin Newsom, governor of California, speaking now. I'll check in briefly and see what he's saying. Let's see what he's saying for a moment.
Not all of them have been tested. Again, this repatriation effort from the cruise ship into the port of Oakland, into these military sites, not just in California, but across the country, Texas and Georgia, is a real-time operation. Once people are settled, they'll be tested, quarantined, and we'll have that information to provide you. We, pursuant to that executive order last night, made an additional announcement, as I referenced a moment ago, related specifically to non-essential events in the state of California. It is not only our strong recommendation, but codified in the executive order that we have directed cities, counties, private, public sector, large and small, all throughout the state of California, to no longer permit large non-essential events in this state. Sporting events, other types of conferences, music festivals, and the like, fill in the blank, and I'm happy to fill in the blank. We believe that was appropriate based upon a number of factors, not least of which our collaboration and coordination with the CDC. As you know, yesterday, mid-morning, midday, the CDC put out protocols and guidelines for a similar number of individuals, 250 or larger for non-essential gathering in the county of Santa Clara. That was just one county. We felt more appropriate to begin to advance that process throughout all 58 counties in the state of California. We've been working with our local partners, and that has been broadly supported. And while it is a directive, while it is a guidance, its legal authority is limited from an enforcement perspective. I know this is a question many of you have, but I have all the expectation that it will be advanced and will be adopted. Invariably, you're going to ask, well, what happens if it isn't? I'm not concerned about that, but I can assure you we have the tools in our toolkit if indeed we needed to move forward with stepped up capacity. We have the ability, the ability as governor to enforce, but I don't expect we'll need to do that. I think people recognize the imperative of this moment and the importance for non-essential events to limit that social interaction and the mixing of different groups, particularly for our seniors and those with compromised immune systems. And in that respect, we have also put out guidelines to limit to 10 the number of individuals in those categories that come into congregate settings, that come into contact with one another. So those are the protocols we put out. Those are the parameters. Invariably, I think you're going to see this not only across the state of California, where we have seen this pursuant to our directive last night, but across other parts of the country very shortly. So that includes all large athletic events. That includes, obviously, not just private concerts and private functions, large conferences and the like, but clearly sporting events that would impact not just the NBA with their unique set of circumstances, but Major League Baseball, which is moving towards opening day very shortly, and others. That directive is effective for the rest of this month. We will extend it as necessary, and it's likely it will be extended. We didn't want to put a firm timeline, but we want to give people a sense of what to expect. And we've been socializing that throughout the state over the course of the last 24, 40, 48 hours. It does not include, at the moment, and I can explain, and I will explain why, casinos, card rooms. It does not include right now theaters, and it does not include large parks like Disneyland. I had a conversation with Bob Iger yesterday. We've been meeting with our partners and our tribal nations. We've been meeting with leaders of those respective industries. The complexity of their unique circumstances requires additional conversation, different kind of engagement, and in real time, we're in those conversations and engagement. The reason we didn't do it was because of the complexity of their unique circumstances, but I assure you, we are moving quickly and effectively towards a resolution in those spaces. And again, this is with the advice and counsel, not only the folks behind me, but with the direct engagement of those individuals that would be impacted. They raised enough legitimate concerns and questions in the short run that we felt it appropriate to exclude them from this general order today and advance those conversations with earnest later this afternoon, and hopefully have some clarity and guidelines in the very immediate future in terms of those venues. Final point on the executive order, there are a number of things included in that. I referenced that the issue of finding access to hotels and motels and sites where we could quarantine and isolate individuals, that is ongoing and has been quite successful. We're looking for folks to find similar assets down in Southern California and San Diego area, Solano. And by the way, thank you to the elected officials in Solano. Thank the community in Solano for stepping up, doing the right thing, and disproportionately meeting this moment. I just can't repeat that enough, how proud I am of that community and how complimented I am by their elected representation and their willingness to work with this administration and the federal government throughout. But we do have in this executive order the ability to commandeer existing private sector assets, including hotels and motels. That was one of the directives in the executive order. Another directive in the executive order allows for the ability for individuals that are impacted by COVID-19, the coronavirus, not to face penalty and fines associated with their tax preparation for state taxes. This is not completely dissimilar to the federal rules that.
All right, so I'm going to get off this press conference now, but California is recommending no large events in the state. Now, it's a recommendation coming from the state. It's not an order, but Governor Newsom says he thinks all of the localities will follow it. So again, California is recommending no large events in the state. I'm going to see if I can find out a little more info on that. But, you know, I think Oregon last night already banned large events. Yeah, California calls for ban on large events as coronavirus spreads. California officials are calling for the cancellation of all gatherings with 250 or more people to slow the spread of coronavirus. These are recommendations. The recommendations have the potential to touch virtually all corners of social life across the state: community meetings, sports events, and school theater performances, from the LA Times. And I think Oregon, last night, I think they banned large events. Let's see here. Late Wednesday night, the governor of Oregon announced a statewide ban on gatherings of more than 250 people. The governor clarified that it only applies to organized events, not places such as stores, shopping centers, or schools. So that's in Oregon. Some of our viewers are saying, why don't they shut down Disneyland? It has not been shut down yet. Okay. Hold on a second. Update. Yonkers, New York mayor, 6 Yonkers residents have tested positive. That's from Tony Aiello. Yonkers is in Westchester County. It's north of New York. North of New York City. Just north of New York City. There's Yonkers.